Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about 12-1 and our learning targets today for flow chart proofs are to write a simple flow chart proof as a 2-column proof, and then we're going to write a flow chart proof all on our own. So here's an example given to us. So we have a regular 2-column proof that we've been working with so far this year. We have our given statement, we know where we're trying to prove, and we can see here that we're given a list of statements and reasons. Okay, well, when we're trying to go from a 2-column proof to a flowchart proof, notice that all of the statements are written in order in each one of these boxes. And all of the reasons, okay, are written below each box to the corresponding statement. For instance, our given is always what we're going to start with here on our left. Okay, our statement DB or ray DB bisects segment AC, that is going to go in the box, and the reason is given, that'll be written right below. Okay, and then notice that we have 3 statements written in one column, and they're all pointing arrows to our final statement, basically what we're trying to prove. Okay, so go ahead and flip the page. All right, so looking at number 1, why does it make sense that there are 3 arrows pointing to the box on the far right-hand side of the proof, the one we were just looking at? So maybe take a minute and discuss this in your groups and try to think, why would we have 3 arrows pointing to the box where we're trying to prove that the 2 triangles are congruent? Okay, guys, so I hope you all had good discussion. So why does that make sense? Okay, well, it takes 3 pieces of information to conclude that 2 triangles are congruent, right? We have side, 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 angle, side, angle, etc. Those are 3 different pieces of information telling us that our 2 triangles are in fact congruent. So it makes sense that then there are 3 arrows pointing to our final statement that the 2 triangles are congruent, because it takes 3 pieces of information to do that. All right, so now we're going to try going from the flowchart proof to writing our 2-column proof on our own. Okay, so when you're writing this flowchart proof, remember that your statements will be in your boxes. Okay, and so we want to start with our statements that were given to us. Okay, followed by 1, 2, 3 statements, and our final statement should be our conclusion that the 2 triangles are in fact congruent. Okay, and then all of our reasons on the right hand side of our 2-column proof should be the phrases right below our boxes. All right, so take a minute now to write your own 2-column proof from this flowchart proof. Okay guys, so now that you're finished with that, go ahead and check your answers with your group mates and your teacher. Make sure you were able to go from that flowchart proof to a 2-column proof. Okay. All right, so although we can use the flowchart format for any proof, flowchart proofs are usually most useful in longer proofs just because they show how steps are logically interconnected. So it makes reading a really long proof really nice because we can just follow the arrows and kind of see where we're going, starting and then where we're going. So the following sequence of steps will help you plan and write your flowchart proof. So I'm basically going to walk through numbers 2 through 12 with you in your book, and we're going to create our very own flowchart proof from this information right here, okay? And we're going to be looking back at this diagram while we're creating it. All right, so go ahead, flip the page over. Okay, so we already talked about how it's a logical sequence to organize our thoughts into a flowchart proof, or as I like to say, flow proof. So a significant difference between writing a paragraph of a proof and then a flowchart proof is justification. So when we're writing proofs and paragraphs, we don't necessarily have to make each justification super clear. A lot of times they're not written clearly. But with flowchart proofs, we have to have that reason below every single statement, right? Referring back to here, every single statement needs to have a reason written below it, okay? And so everything has to be justified. And we can only remember justify any statement, okay, using properties, definitions, the given that they told us, postulates, and theorems, okay? We can't just say, well, they look like they're congruent. No. We need something that's fact. Okay, so a flowchart proof, it can begin with statements based on given information or information that can be assumed. Okay, so that's always where you want to start in your flowchart proof, with the given or something that you know can be assumed from the given diagram. And then flowcharts will always end with the statement that you're trying to prove. Okay, so we want to always just figure out, hey, when we're starting this flowchart proof, where are we trying to go? Okay, so for number 3, okay, we want to fill in our very, very last statement. We want to know, where are we trying to go? All right, well, looking back, okay, where we started, so I told you guys that we were going to be, this is page 168, we were going to be starting with the given and ending with the proof. Well, this proof statement, that's where we're trying to go, okay? So segment AB is parallel to DC. So that's what we want to write in our very final statement, okay? We'll come back to the reasoning later. Okay, and then for where we're starting off, okay, these two statements we want to use as our given, okay? So we were given 2 statements, as you can see here. So we're gonna just go ahead and write those 2 givens in our starting statement boxes. All right, so in this first box, I'll put the first given statement. M is the midpoint of BD. And then right here we have M is the midpoint of AC. All right, so we have our first 2 boxes done. Well, now we need to give, now we have our statements, so now we need to give our reasons for that. And the reasons is, well, we were given these 2 statements. Okay, so now we're going to come to boxes 3 and 4, and it makes the most logical sense to come to these next boxes because these are the boxes being followed by these arrows, right, from our given statements. So whatever statement we write in each of these boxes, it should directly follow from our statement before, okay, since our arrow is pointing and following through to these boxes here. Okay, so what makes the most sense? What statement makes the most sense to write in box 3 if we know it's coming from the statement that M is the midpoint of BD? Okay, well, if you don't remember midpoint, maybe get out that little flip book of yours, go back, look at the definition.